Adal, the Deputy Director, Business Development at Uganda Investment Authority, charged the responsibility of facilitating, monitoring, and providing aftercare solutions to all our investments and all our investors in the country. To the program, we are kicking off straight into our opening remarks. And at this point, I have the pleasure of inviting our Deputy Director General, Mr. Paul Kyalimpa. Mr. Paul Kyalimpa, the floor is yours. The microphone is there. If you can kindly make your opening remarks to this third session of WEN. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Director, Business Development. I'm trying to share my screen. Faith, do you have my screen there?
Yes, I do. Just give me a second to open it up.
Okay. Meanwhile, welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Paul Kyalimpa, and today I'm privileged to be part of this the Women Entrepreneurs Network to welcome you to this discussion, as well as share the experience and with you on accessing finance, especially by the youth and the women-led enterprises. As Faith projects the screen, I've realized that in my experience as a business person and as a business facilitator, that when the businesses are small or they are just starting, the individuals quite often are very close, and they operate like the business operates like the individual until the business grows, and we are able, the owner is able to create a corporate identity, a separate identity from the business. But in the initial stages, the owner of the business is the promoter of the enterprise, and therefore the brand of the enterprise follows the owner. So by and large, when you are starting as an individual or as a team, you must create that brand where people are able to follow you, but later demystify that brand of you as the owners, and therefore brand the entity separate to take on that reputation which you give initially as the entity. Faith, next. So today I will tell you about the UIA services which you provide to the youth and the women entrepreneurs, and also share with you my experience on the key impediments to financing, especially by youth and women-led businesses, and the impact of this on the enterprises. And what I've been doing with small businesses and the individual entrepreneurs, my experience, what I've been telling them to do in order to improve access to financing. Next. As UIA, we expect you to, through our website, through our one-stop center online, also the physical one-stop center here at Tweed Plaza, or by reaching us by email or phone contact, you can be able to ask for information on investment opportunities. But we also have a handbook on the investment opportunities, and we do some profiling of those business opportunities for those who are starting. Now, we have done some research on how much it requires and what it requires to start small businesses. So that goes a long way in helping you to start if you want to start. And you can get additional information beyond what is provided in the handbook, and also on new businesses beyond what is listed in the handbook. We issue free investment licenses if you are going to start a business. And we also give you some approvals and recommendations once you have our investment license as our investor, which we provide for free of charge, and also help you to establish some venture capital partners, and also to do some, to get investors to handhold you, as well as provision of some investment, as well as industrial park land for agriculture and other investments. Faith? We provide guidance also to SMEs on how to work with multinationals. And through this, we provide SME internationalization. You don't have to go to international platform or markets to meet the international standards. For you, what the international firm does is to give you the standards requirements and the quantities required. You meet them here, and the international firm meets their own international dynamics, the taxes, etc. So you can be able to supply international markets through the linkage. Also provide entrepreneurship training to those SMEs, but this will do more work together with other institutions like Enterprise Uganda, PSF, and others. For us, we provide now more especially the advocacy to improve the working environment for small businesses, those run by the youth and women. And we provide also business facilitation, including business licensing, registration, accessing all other support services from government bodies through the one-stop center, as we'll be seeing. Faith? Now, the one-stop center I'm talking about hosts a number of organizations, physical and also online, like the Uganda Registration Services Bureau that provides business registration, utility providers, if you want to register to get water, also for power, umeme, you can do it online as well as physically here visiting the one-stop center. If you want to land in free zones under Uganda Free Zone Authority, if you want, if they are external investors for immigration services, UNBS, if you want standardization, the S mark for SMEs. If you want to verify the land titles, we have the offices online as well as physical. If you want trade registration and building approvals under KCCA, if you want banking facilities, if you want all these services, we can be able to get them through the one-stop center at UIA. Now, going to the SME access financing, move on. I am pleased to share with you what I've seen as the 5 key obstacles when it comes to individuals or the businesses themselves, the small businesses, which are run by the youth and the women. The first one, having worked in microfinance institutions and banks, and also as a business development service provider, the SMEs or the women and the youth, they have no track record of savings. Because anybody where you have to go, you need to tell them that you have built a track record of savings. So you do have not any record so that you have been saving your money. You also don't show any record that you have been making payments if you pay. And also, you don't have collateral, or the collateral you have has very low value, and therefore cannot give you the money you want with the bank. Also, you have weak, or you don't have actually documentation of profiling of the businesses which you run. And therefore, these 5 major ones, on your side as an entrepreneur, or as a youth, or as a woman entrepreneur, on your side, it makes it very, very weak for you, for anybody to trust you, or a financing institution to trust you. Then on the second part of the external factors, move ahead, Faith, which are beyond you, the individual. You find that there is lack of special credit funds by government for youth and women enterprises. If they are there, people do not have information about them. Or if they are there, the conditionalities of accessing funds are very cumbersome. So, and the organizations that support youth and women have not asserted themselves to enforce or to prioritize the special financing programs for the youth and the women enterprises. Also, there are limited services and funding for incubation services for the youth and women-led businesses. What I know here, what we have are those in manufacturing, especially under Uganda Industrial Research Institute, URI. So there you get services. But others who have tried to do this, we have the Stanbic Bank, the incubation services, but very few people are aware about them. But also you find that they have limitation in terms of the number of people take it on and the people to support the incubatees. Also, there are stringent conditions for venture capital funds and seed funding. Besides not being available, but the conditions, if they are, when they are there, they are very stringent, and these people cannot meet them, as well as the lack of limited commitment from government to implement policies to ease access to financing for youth and women. And this has high-level ramifications on the youth and the women-led businesses. Faith? And the limitations include there are many youth and women who cannot start businesses, which limits entrepreneurial activities. And the second one is that there's high effect on new industry entrants. So if there are businesses established, you'll find there's limited competition, and therefore there are few institutions or individuals who are able to join the competition or the industry. But it also inhibits or limits development of new ideas and innovations because to be competitive, you need money or funds. And this limits business growth and profitability as well as sustainability. And that's why you hear that in Uganda, we have a lot of businesses that are started, high business startup, but most of them do not last beyond 1 year or the second year of their birthday. Now, what do we need to do to increase financing for youth and women? Now, remember those personal limitations for your businesses as well as entrepreneurs. The first recommendation that we need to increase the formal saving schemes for youth and women businesses so that you can build evidence for our business activities while applying for credit. We also build a basis for generating audit reports, which are needed to access financing, and also show that you can be able to grow or our businesses have been growing. You can do that only if you have evidence of your saving, as well as formalizing payments, just as the savings. So we need to operate with registered circles, microfinance institution banks, and other financial institutions, so that you have a track record of our payments as well as savings, which you use as a basis of building confidence to an individual if you need money, or from an institution if you want to access credit. You also will need to create bankable credit-worthy contacts, which is a source of the startup capital for those who are applying. You can get business partners if you have a documentation of your business, as well as if you have individuals you can work with to improve competitiveness, who will give you credit reference. They will know who you are based on your capacity in terms of credit worthiness. So if you borrow pay from a bank or from an individual, this is very important if you have to build a reputation as an institution. The other one is that we need to invest in high value assets, such that we can be able to convert them into cash or to build collateral when we are required to provide security for our businesses. But we should know that we should not put most of the money under fixed assets and we fail to get the cash for operations. So we need to create a strong balance sheet, which shows that we have the money to run our businesses, to meet the day-to-day obligations, as well as the assets which can easily be converted into cash or which have high value, which you can mortgage or present to the financial institutions as a basis of our capital. Now, the assets must be related to the nature of business we do so that they are more resourceful. The other one is that we need to do business for profiling in order to market our businesses. People need to know about our business ideas or the businesses we're operating and how profitable they are, so that we are more appealing. We can do the marketing and build the evidence of the growth of these businesses. Also, externally, we need to work with government and advocate for special credit funds for youth and women-run enterprises at affordable rates, so that we can support the women entrepreneurs as well as the youth entrepreneurs. We need also special financing programs for youth and women-led businesses by development partners, especially those who support NGOs, international development organizations, and other charitable services. So we need those special programs to improve awareness, to advocate for better rates, and also accumulate the pool of funds for support youth and women in business. We also need to advocate for more funding for incubation services for youth and women enterprises, as well as increasing access to venture capital funds and seed funding. Now, as we talk about Uganda Development Bank, we talk about Microfinance Support Center, etc. Have we studied about the characteristics of youth and women enterprises? And are we tailoring these services to the needs or based on the challenges of women and youth-led enterprises? So that now we increase entrepreneurial activities, we improve women engagement and youth engagement in productive activities. And that will help us to grow, for the youth, to build a strong foundation for the youth to contribute to their own better well-being as well as national development. Now, also we need to have deliberate policies to facilitate and ease access to financing for women and youth enterprises for both government and development partners. And once we address this, I'm sure we should be able to move forward. Now, based on that brief, my expectation and request is that the next speakers should be able to tell me or tell us about these impediments, about these proposals, and where are these opportunities, where are these programs, and how the youth can tap into these programs and these opportunities, and which special advocacy and lobbying programs we can put in place to ensure that we increase youth and women-led youth and women participation in businesses, so that you can be able to increase their participation in national growth, as well as improve their social and economic well-being. I thank everyone, and I wish you fruitful deliberations. Over to you, the moderator. Over to you, Muramira.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I had not unmuted. A very big thank you, Dr. Kyalimpa, for such a presentation. Members, you agree with me that there was justice in typically understanding what your brand is as a business. And I think, thank you, Deputy Director General, on articulating that very important issue, and then transmitting that from your individual brand into an entity. So as that forms a basis, a good basis of what he then spelled as bottlenecks in terms of making sure that you have records that will make you a bankable project and credible enough so that you can be financed by any funding source. Very much articulated, and we appreciate that introduction. And I believe now that sets us on a good stage for us to engage on our next presentation, which is now going to be speaking to accessing affordable finance for women. And I'm very happy to have to introduce Madam Alice Nora Lajwa. Madam Alice Nora Lajwa needs no introduction for those that are in the fraternity of finance and banking. She comes from the SheTrades Opportunity International, a global entity that is involved in microfinance, and I will not take more of the time, but I will invite her to give us a small introduction and then give us her submission. Madam Alice, you're welcome. The microphone is yours.
Thank you very much, Peter, and all the participants for being here today. I'm so delighted to be part of this team of the Women Entrepreneur Network. Just like have been introduced, I work with Opportunity International, and I support in what is called the SheTrades program. I thank the previous speaker, Dr. Paul Kyalimpa. He did justice in highlighting some of the challenges that women and entrepreneurs face in terms of access to finance, and the different challenges that they get. And the SheTrades program is really about that. And so that is what I'm going to speak about today, breaking barriers to access to finance, and especially in regards to women financing. I'll request Faith to share my presentation.
As I prepare that, you can start with your presentation. It will come on the screen shortly.
Oh, that's fine. So I'll briefly speak about Opportunity Bank Uganda Limited and Opportunity International. So Opportunity Bank is a fully fledged commercial bank licensed and regulated by the Central Bank of Uganda. Opportunity Bank is a member of Opportunity International, which is a global coalition of organizations dedicated to extending banking and training services, mainly to transform lives of the low-income earners around the world, with special focus on women and youth. And again, just like Dr. Paul mentioned, there are challenges that women and youth have in terms of access to finance. Then Opportunity Bank was founded in 1995 as a microcredit program, and it has diversified its outreach over the years, offering tailor-made products and services for individuals, micro, small, medium, and large-sized enterprises to address the growing needs of our customers. We have a network of about 23 branches across the country. So about SheTrades, one of the challenges that Dr. mentioned was access to financing. And he mentioned key impediments that women and youth face. So what is SheTrades about? So SheTrades was formed as a project to empower women entrepreneurs with financial services, managerial capacity, and market linkages. Because, and also, it's basically about breaking barriers to women accessing financing, breaking barriers to women accessing markets, and breaking barriers to women accessing learning. Because again, to be successful in your business, to be successful even in usage of the financing that we're talking about, someone has to have financial literacy. Someone has to know how to use this money, where to put this money, and how to make sure that this money is actually put in the right business and where it's supposed to be. So the objectives, the first objective is to connect women, thank you very much, Faith, to connect women entrepreneurs to loans and other banking services, connecting women entrepreneurs to markets through enrolling them on the SheTrades platform. Then we also capacitate women entrepreneurs to scale successful businesses through trainings, mentorship, and coaching. Next slide, please. So what are the benefits of this program called the SheTrades program? Yes, we've come to a realization that there are so many barriers that women face to, number one, accessing financing. They're also including high interest rates, lack of collateral and security, issues of how far is the bank from, accessibility. Is it easily accessible? Can I easily access my money? Can I easily access a formal financial institution? So with that, with those challenges, the SheTrades program was set up to break those different barriers. The first one I can talk about is for a registered SheTrades user. If someone is registered on this platform, SheTrades platform, there's a platform called the SheTrades platform, and we register women onto this platform. Once we register them onto this platform, we profile them, your picture, the kind of business that you do, what services you provide, your contacts, and you as a woman, you enroll onto this platform as a seller, because again, having those, the men can enroll onto this platform as buyers, but the women can enroll onto this platform as sellers. So once you're on this platform, you have enhanced visibility. You're able to be seen by people, not just in Uganda, not just in Africa, but a global network of buyers and sellers interacting on the SheTrades platform. So there's enhanced visibility. You have stronger networks just by being on this platform. Then you're able to crack business deals with different people on this platform. Then there are different kind of events to again boost you as a business person. Workshops, online events, and as I speak about SheTrades, there's going to be an event called the SheTrades Global Dubai, which will be happening. There's going to be a live session in October for those who can travel to Dubai. So that will be a session of interactions with different buyers and different sellers from across the globe, both women and men. So these are opportunities that we can that we offer to women in terms of markets, because we also realize that giving them financing is not enough. You know, someone needs to have financing as well as the markets, because when we finance your business and you don't have a market to sell these products, you know, it's also a challenge. So that's why the SheTrades partnership comes in, not just to access the financing, but to also access the markets. We also, in terms of banking, that's at the banking services, affordable loans. We're talking of savings, bank assurance, remittances that we can access just by being a part of this SheTrades network. Next slide, please. So what's the eligibility of someone accessing this or benefiting from these programs in terms of access to financing, access to markets, access to trainings, mentorship, and different learning that are available on this platform and also at Opportunity Bank in terms of financing. Eligibility is a female individual who is in business. That means anyone who is female and is in business, and is on this platform today, can actually access funding under the SheTrades program, can access, and again, enrollment on this platform is free of charge. You don't charge anything. So you can access this platform and be able to interact with the different buyers and sellers and just expose yourself as a trader. Women-owned businesses, it may be a partnership between husband and wife, but we want possibly it's a lady who is running the business in terms of recruitment, managing, hiring, and you know, all that. So as long as the business has the lady has a bigger stake in the business, then this kind of business also qualifies. Then women already enrolled, there's a SheTrades platform, and we have women who are already enrolled onto this platform, and we sometimes get them as referrals from SheTrades, and they say, you know, we have this lady who maybe deals in who deals in tourism or agriculture, and they need funding. Can you have a chat with them and see if they can get some money? Then we are looking at client. You must have been in business for over 6 months. So next slide, please. And next slide, please. So in terms of financing, we are looking at groups. You can, how do you access this funding? We also realize as Opportunity International and Opportunity Bank that one of the challenges that women face in terms of businesses or in terms of access to finance is limited collateral. So because of this limited collateral, we encourage people to come in groups, you know, groups of 10, groups of 15, groups of 20, you know, and you co-guarantee each other. You know, you don't have to have land. You don't have to come with a car logbook because you don't have a car logbook. You can just come with a, you know, just your social capital. You know each other, you trust each other, and you can co-guarantee each other. So if you come together as a group and you want to access this kind of funding, you can have it at 15% per annum, which is 1.25% per month. So if you're getting a loan for a shorter period of time, you can actually get a loan even at 7.5% per annum. If you're asking for 6 months or something like that. Then we have also for individuals at 24% per annum, which is on a monthly basis, that would be 2%. Then for SMEs, it's 20% per annum on reducing balance. That is the financing for the different categories.
Madam Alice, sorry to break. Members, we will have a session for your questions immediately after Madam Alice. I should have mentioned at the beginning, my apologies. So kindly take them down. We'll have a session immediately after Alice to respond to your question. Alice, you're doing well with time. Kindly mind the time bracket in your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm just about to close. So in terms of other interventions, yes, we know that the times are challenging, and businesses are, it's not a normal time, you know, it's not a time when people really interact with each other. You know, I move to your premises and I have to give you physical cash. So Opportunity International and Opportunity Bank have come up with, you know, measures to ensure that women and anyone else out there who wants to transact is safe. So that is, e-banking services are enablers. Let us use them to survive and thrive during these very unprecedented times. As well as there are different platforms that we use. We have mobile banking that you can access. There's internet banking, there's agency banking, where you can have do your business in the comfort of your house without having to interact, without having to have any physical contact. So make use of all these online platforms in this bank and in any of your other financial institutions. Then also, once you enroll on the SheTrades platform, you can get connected to markets and you can access trainings and guidance during these very tough times. There are a number of webinars that help in terms of how do I manage, how do I handle with all these challenges that I'm facing currently. Next slide, please. So as I close, I'll just give us 3 words of things that you can also go with. The first is, yeah, the times are not normal. Things have changed. It's not the previous years when business was thriving. We are all in a lockdown. You can't move out. You can't, you know, get to your customer if you haven't, you know, worked on possibly digital enablers. The first one is combined speed and stability. Organizational agility is the ability of a company to quickly change or adapt in response to tumultuous and rapidly changing markets. The times are tough, the times are hard. So to thrive and to survive during these times, we have to be very fast in, you know, in our evolvement. Let's evolve with the changing times. We can't have physical contacts anymore. Therefore, number 2, embrace and turn digitization into an advantage. A number of us may say, oh, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on WhatsApp, or whether I'm on these platforms, I don't really use them for businesses. Let's try and use these platforms as much as possible to ensure that we remain relevant in these current times. Then also check the feasibility of your current business and business model. The business you've been doing last year or before COVID and the business model, is it still feasible? Do I still need to remain in this current business? Do I still need to run things the way I'm running them? So ask all those questions just to ensure that you remain relevant in these current times. So thank you very much for listening. And Opportunity Bank and Opportunity International is here to serve you and is here to support you in terms of ensuring that we survive, and not only survive, but thrive even after, even COVID times and after this COVID times. Thank you so much for listening.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Madam Alice. And we are very blessed, aren't we, to have such a candid discussion on such pertinent issues, on issues that are very close to us at a free fee. Listening to you, Madam Alice, reminded me of a previous interaction with a business lady in Buama, who mentioned that from inception, as she went to obtain a loan, there was no record at the beginning. But what saved her was her book, which she kept writing every expenditure that she was making, right from purchase of a hoe, purchase of the barbed wire as she was fencing, and all that helped redeem her when it came to the to obtaining a loan. So as you are talking about profiling and visibility, once the entity is now full on its feet, we are happy to note that you'll be able to give that visibility of such an entity at a global platform, so that under SheTrades, they will be able to project their profile and say, look, we are who we are, giving that humble background and showing the journey to this date, if I heard you correctly. And thank you for the interventions that opportunity has laid for such businesses, be it in light of COVID, where the infections and the fatalities are on the high, but you have prepared platforms that enable or equip our businesses, our business ladies, to be able to run their businesses, run their shops, so that they are not heavily impacted. Very much appreciated, Madam Alice, well received. I now go around the room to look for any question that could be for you to answer. I will see whether there is any hand up. Any question for Madam Alice? Or
Peter,
any comment or observation?
There's some questions in the Q&A section.
Oh, very good. Very well. Okay. The question to Madam Alice was, please, how do we access the platform? Is it online, or do we walk to the bank and register? Would you like to take that question, Madam Alice?
Yes, thank you very much. Maybe, I don't know whether Faith can share the same presentation that I made. The last slide before the Q&A on how to register onto the SheTrades platform. It's an online platform, that's number one. You simply go on any of the search engines and just type SheTrades, then select about ITC SheTrades, and then it brings all the different steps for you to register as a seller. Then you fill in your templates, click submit. So when you go online, it will just take you through a process of registration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's it for now. Let me just go down and have a look. There is a question, another question for you, Madam Alice. Madam Alice, thank you for your presentation. Can you kindly mention the lending requirements? Lending requirements. If you can briefly highlight the lending requirements.
Okay, thank you so much. So for the group lending, all we need is people to come up in a group of members, let's say women who know each other very well, because you'll be each other's guarantors and each other's collateral. Because we understand that there are people who are in groups and they don't have the kind of things like land or car loan books. Then for individuals and SMEs, for those we need we need land. It can be titled or chibanja for individuals, and also we can take logbooks, because these are loans that are specific to an individual, and we somehow need collateral to guarantee as a second, as a second option. But of course, also just like Dr. Paul mentioned earlier, one of the challenges that most women face when they're coming to access funding is lack of any kind of record, because it's very important for any financial institution to understand who you are. And this would, understanding who you are and understanding your business would be best done and best known through your records. You have cash flows. Have you been banking anywhere? You know where you can get a bank statement. So once we understand your cash flows, it's going to guide us better on how, on what amount of money or what kind of funding to give you. And so yeah, this cash, looking at your cash flows and also looking at your collateral. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another question for you. We'll take two more questions, Madam Alice, and then we'll move on. What if you have been in a process of setting up a processing plant and has been incurring cost for 6 months, but not yet selling? Do you qualify?
You've been in the process of working on a processing plant. And
you've been in setting up for about 6 months, incurring costs and not selling. Would you access any facility?
Okay, what we usually do is we look at a business that has been in operation for about 6 months. So in terms of someone who has a processing plant and it's been incurring costs, we are going to look at your cash flows, because the most important thing for a bank is looking at the cash flows. Yes, we look at collateral and security, but that is not what we pay our loans. Loans are usually paid through a cash flow. What kind of money comes in and what goes out. So even as you're having your processing plant, is there any other cash flow that will pay this loan at the end of the day? So if there's a cash flow that can accommodate the loan amount you're requesting for, then you can qualify.
Very well, thank you. I think that's well received. There is one more question for the doctor, but I'll come back to that later on. Doctor, I will pass that to you. It's in respect to tax holidays and follow-up for survival on resilience and growth for some of our women in business. So I'll come back to that. It's from Chiberu, Jonah, and thanks for that question. I'll pass it on to the doctor in a short while. With that, Madam Alice, thank you very much. It's been a very good discussion around, you've stimulated our thinking more now on issues that relate to visibility, profiling, the interventions that you've mentioned. So from Dr. Kyalimpa's introduction, we have listened to how we set up and how we can define our brand. Once our brand has been defined, we've also appreciated that transmission from individual brand into an entity brand. We have now also gone to understanding how that brand can attract financing. We have seen how Madam Alice proposes the different platforms that make you credible enough or bankable in terms of accessing finance. Why don't we now go into issues of risk, demystifying insurance, flourishing despite COVID. So here you have a natural disaster as COVID, but then how do you soldier on as a business? Mr. Ibrahim Kalure, I would like to introduce you to this panel. Mr. Ibrahim Kalure is from Uganda Insurance Association, and he will take us through our next part of our program, which is demystifying insurance and having a flourishing environment despite COVID-19. Allow me to invite Ibrahim to give his remarks. Mr. Kalule, over to you.
Thank you very much, moderator. I request my colleague Julie, with whom we serve at the association, to come in and do the presentation. I'll be online as well to make sure that we can give you the support needed to ensure that we have a befitting presentation. Julie, please come in.
Thank you very much. I hope, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Juliet Igonu. I work with the Uganda Insurers Association, as Kalule has hinted on, under the technical department. It's a pleasure, first and foremost, for us to come and talk about risk management. And I've been listening right from the time the doctor has been presenting, and for sure, there is so much that we can do. And I want to thank Uganda Investment Authority for the opportunity that they are bringing forth for women. I, as a woman, it shows that the only way you can fail to get into business is when you choose to, because all the platforms have been laid. And thank you very much. COVID-19 has affected both life and business and has changed the perception and the expectations of the public in as far as insurance is concerned, to the extent that they are now demanding for value for money. And remember, insurance is a promise. An occurrence occurs, and we come in to mitigate, to solve, to put you back in the state where you are. So we've had big pressures coming in from the public asking for value for money. And so, of course, it has not left us as an industry the same. And so it has changed how we look at things, to the extent that we are now changing our priorities in terms of looking at billing as risk managers and not just mere direct sales people, insurance sales people. So risk management has become a priority to many individuals. I mean the public, the customers and businesses, that we need to review. We've chosen to review our business model as an industry and relaunch ourselves as risk managers as opposed to insurance providers. So I'm going to request that Faith probably you get into the presentation. But as she does that, Uganda Insurance Association is a mother company of all insurance companies. It brings a membership of currently 37, of which 30 are insurance companies, 3 and micro insurance service providers, and 4 reinsurers. So that's how we are as an industry. And of course, we were, the association was formed in 1965, so we've stood the test of time and appreciated the changes that the industry has undergone. So one of the things that we do as a sector, as an association, is we do lobbying and advocacy. This stems from not just the needs of the industry players, but also the consumer. Between government, we've come into PPT, we've signed partnership with government in a number of things. Especially right now, we have the agriculture consortium in place, where we've had government come in to subsidize insurance premiums on behalf of the farmers, because it's been very expensive for them. So we have come a long way. So that lobbying and advocacy is one of them. Then we also do consumer awareness. These include trainings, this includes sensitizations, and we've been so happy to partner with UIA, the authority, in as far as this is concerned. And so we pride ourselves in empowering the public with what they need to do. So Faith, kindly go to the slide. I hope that gives you a background of who the association is. So we balance the equation in terms of helping the client. We also handle complaints that come through, we resolve, and we guide the public without being biased. So even when you have your business in place, you've done everything is in order, you can't avoid risk. You know, a risk is a situation that will put you in a state where you will suffer a loss. And you know, risks we are surrounded with risks, and these are because of the different hazards that we're exposed to. Of course, a hazard is a state that exposes you to that risk, which eventually makes you suffer a loss. And of course, for us, when we talk about risk management, the question will be asked, how do you manage your risk? We're literally asking you, are you able to identify the potential risks that your business is exposed to in advance? Because even when you're doing your business planning, maybe the bankers will also tell you, will request that you have insurance in place. Why? Because they're trying to take care of things which were beyond your control. At the same time, trying to ensure that they get back their money. They have a fallback position. So as a business person, you should be able to know your risk potentials in advance, because that helps you plan for them. So after you have identified them, then you're able to analyze them one by one as you come up with the different procedures or precautions that you have to put in place. A good example is, if I know my business is exposed to an environment that has very many idle people, so that means there's a possibility of a theft happening. What am I going to do about that? I'm going to improve on my burglars. Am I going to hire a security firm? ABCD. Those are the steps that you take into after you have identified a risk. Then also the other option is you will try as much as possible to minimize the extent on which these risks come in. So those are the things that you apply. Those are the applications that you actually put in place to make sure that your business continues, because risk are things that you can't avoid. The best you can do is to take care of them. Next slide, Faith. So after you've taken through the 3 steps, there are 4 ways that you can manage your risk as a business person. The first one is you can choose to avoid to deal in any project that you know for sure, if I decided to undertake this particular activity, I am bound to close my shop. I am bound to lose all my investments. So you avoid. So that means that you choose, like I've seen, like how the previous presenter, Nora, was saying, they assess. You come, you request, yes, everyone would want to get a loan, but they have already highlighted the kind of business that they will consider. So if your business is not certain, the cash flows are not certain, they will not take you on, so they will avoid you, other than running around with your collateral, you know. So they will avoid you right from the beginning, because we call it high risk. A high risk is something that you know the chances of it occurring is high, and you suffer big loss. The other thing is you mitigate. These are things that you choose to involve yourselves in after realizing that even if a loss occurred, the impact will still keep me in business. So those are the ones that you manage. You put controls in place. Even if a thief broke into your shop, even if a thief robbed anything from you, you will still survive. You will still stay in business. So those are the ones that you mitigate to take care of, to ensure that you remain in business. Then there are those that you know for the fact that I can't avoid. It's the high risk. I can't avoid it, because once I manage my risks, once I put my controls in place, the financial impact to my business is very, very high. So you've had people say, take a risk, invest, do this. Those are the ones we say they accept the risk exposure is there, but they take it on. Of course, you must have really chosen to know where your fallback will be. So after you've done all these things and you know for sure you can't do any, then you choose to transfer your risk. And this is where insurance comes in, a third party who can take care of your risk. So we as insurance, we fall in under the management of risk called transfer. You take it on to another person at a consideration, or what we call a premium, you know. So you have a contract in place, they understand your kind of business, and it can be customized to your needs. They assess and they tell you the exposures that you're in that you must actually consider to make sure that you don't get out of business. So that is where we fall in. Faith, please go in. And of course, insurance we are professional. It's a professional arrangement, contract that is legally recognized in the courts of law. So, and it has proof. You have a documentation, a contract in place that spells out the terms and conditions, what has been covered. It has the clauses, it has the exclusions, it has the extensions, and all these are in the contract. Of course, we always encourage our clients that you must review your contract. As opposed to thinking that you've been given an invoice, you pay, you're covered fully. Insurance does not take care of everything. And remember, insurance on go set, it takes care of uncertainties, things that are beyond your control. That means that if anything occurs, there must be evidence and proof that you actually did what you could. This was beyond your control. For example, I'll use an example, I keep using an example of a burglar. You locked your shop, everything was in control, but they still managed to break through and they enter. Their insurance will pay because you could not do much. So when you take on insurance, it doesn't mean that live your life at ease. You are supposed to live your life, run your business as though you didn't have insurance. How would you manage it? So we come in as beyond controls. Why? Because even when they're charging you the premium, the assumption is that you have controls in place. That's why in the policy contract, there are conditions which require you to put certain things in control. For anyone who deals in production, you have some equipment that you use. The condition there is that you service the equipment for it to be able to produce what you're supposed to. If it gets a mechanical issue, the issue should be either electrical, something that is beyond your control, a power surge, it is beyond your control, but not an issue of poor servicing. You did not service, so it has just failed. The failure of the machine is because you didn't service. So that we assume that it was likely to happen. And remember, insurance is for uncertainties. So if something ought to happen because of some level of negligence, then insurance will not come in place. So the benefits of insurance is that it gives you a peace of mind. Right now, people who have, for example, life insurance policy, if you got an attack, a hit on COVID-19, for someone who bought a life policy, they will not have any fears of what will happen to my children. Why? Because they took up a life policy. That life policy will protect their family when they're out. So you have some sort of peace on how you live your family. But if you don't have insurance, you're always praying. Whenever you hear any stuff around town, you're worried about your business. Is my business safe? But if you have insurance, you will have a peace of mind knowing that if anything, if there's a hit on your business, you will have a fallback. Wait, next. So of course, insurance products are categorized. We have life assurance, then we also have the non-life products. Now the life products are those that deal with your life. Like you take on a life policy for which are long-term. There are many long-term products, but for the short for the non-life, they are short-term. They are usually 12 months. The others spell from 5 up to the maximum number of years that you really want. That's where the difference is, but they all serve the same purpose and they give you a promise. And please go next. Faith, next. So these are some of the policies, but I will not delve so much in them because after we have your risk exposures, policies vary from one business person to the other. But the common ones are, of course, the motor insurance policy, which is for your vehicle and takes care of it. If you buy a comprehensive one, everything, including liabilities that come from the third party that you've gotten involved with an accident. Then the burglary or theft insurance is the one I talked about, where someone breaks into. Of course, it has to be forceful. There should be evidence. You see, with insurance, if you're able to prove, it becomes easier. But if you're not, the process takes longer because then we're trying to make sure that we are paying a claim that is justifiable, because we've had cases where fraud, people have staged their own claims. Why? Because they are business people. So if you have clear evidence, it becomes easy for your claims process to go through. The other one is the money in transit, or not just in transit, even when it is in your business. You've had people who have been held up in business. Someone just thugs running and you hold up. So this money, if you have a money policy, if they come and rob you and they take all your money and you have this policy in place during working hours, after working hours, in transit, probably you're taking it from the shop to the bank, or you're taking from the bank to the shop. When you have this kind of policy, you're taken care of. Even damages to yourself under these policies or your strong room are taken care of. Now, the other one is the fidelity guarantee insurance policy. We know that we employ people to do business for us, but there are those who are not honest. So if you have theft by your own employees or any collusion with an outsider that involves your employee, this is the policy that you need to consider. It will take care of you. It's a liability policy where you determine your level of exposure depending on the investment that you have in your business, how much you think they can go on with. And the beauty about it is that it stretches you up to 12 months, even if it has a discovery period. Even if you discovered it 12 months back, you can be taken care of. Then the workers' compensation, this is a mandatory policy. Every employer is supposed to ensure that their employees are protected against work-related injuries or work-related occupational diseases, or that lead to death or permanent incapacity. It is the Workers' Compensation Act 2000 under the Ministry of Labor. Every employer is supposed to have this. So apart from just making sure that you comply with the law, it's important because if you don't have insurance for your employee, and for example, they are moving from your place of work home, and they get hit and they die, of course, the family, the relatives will expect you as an employer to show some financial cause, stand with them. So depending on your financial, they will not expect you to give them 1 million. They will expect some good sum of money. So if you have insurance, they will be able to give you and you extend it to the family. And the beauty about it is it's pegged on the salary of the employee. And the law is very clear on how much we're supposed to pay and the maximum, and you can leverage on that. So when you take on this insurance, it means that you have taken on the liability that would come from an employee sustaining an injury or death from yourself, and you've given it to the insurance company. So insurance company will be able to pay this on your behalf. So we recommend that. But we have, this is strictly during working hours, but we have what we call a group personal accident, where you put in all your employees. A group personal accident takes care of your employees 24 hours and worldwide, depending on where they are, as long as they are your workers. If they get any issues, work-related or unrelated, and it leads them to death, as long as it's accidental, then the insurance can pay. But if you strictly stick to the law, it is working hours. So as soon as the person reaches home, cover ceases, other than the other. Then the personal accident, maybe you could be, and you can't afford, you could for all your employees, but you're also mindful about yourself. Or you are an investor, you're not an employee of your company, you don't subscribe as an employee, but you want to take on insurance. You can take on a personal accident cover at an amount that you choose to put your life, attach your life to. Then fire takes care of the physical fire, but for us, fire is not just the physical fire. It is the lightning. We've seen places that have been affected by lightning. Then malicious damage. Some people just rob in and they maliciously damage your business. This is taken care of if you have a fire policy. Then riots and strikes, like now what is happening in downtown, in case you rob into a bank, your business, and they cause some damages. If you have a fire policy, earthquake, landslide, rainfall, if the rains pour and cause a flood and damages your business, if you have a fire policy, this is what will take care of you. Even this, you've seen cows moving anyhow, they ram into your business. Those are also taken care of in the fire policy. Then of course, the domestic package is mainly for home use. Okay, home. We have our homes. We have valuable items in our homes. So you might be wondering, can I insure my own personal property? Yes, you can. We have a policy for that. And actually, in this policy, not only do we take care of your house content, or we can also insure your building if you own a building, your property, your house content, your workers. You can also extend it to include liabilities. For example, your wall fence falls and damages your neighbor's property. If you have this policy, it takes care of that, and so many others. So we believe this should enable us to have insurance at all levels, not just as at institutional, but also personal. Then the other one, next slide, medical or health insurance, they mean the same, is where you agree with a service provider. You can take it on as insurance, or you can take it on as an HMO. An HMO is a health management organization, the likes of AAR, those different service providers. You go and arrange and agree, you pay them a premium, and then they guarantee you a particular lump sum of payments that they will do the medical service providers that you choose to. And you can also choose to deal with insurance as an insurance company. The same, you agree on how much, and the limits of liabilities are also attached. It all depends on how much you're able to pay. That's a bit about medical. It doesn't have minimum premiums. It is your money that determines how much you can pay and the limits of liability you're exposed to. Of course, agriculture, I earlier on talked about it. It takes care of drought, excessive rainfall, landslides, lightning, fire, uncontrollable pests and diseases, and so many others. As long as you are a farmer, you deal in farming, you can be sure that you can get insurance. With the support from government, premium has been made simpler. They subsidize to up to 80%, depending on the size of farmer you are. If you're a small scale, yes, up to 80%, depending on the region where you are. If you're in high-prone areas, the subsidy goes up to 80%, so you only pay 20%. But if you're in low-prone areas, then they give you up to 50%. The claims process, I will I will just say and summarize the claims process in one thing. If after you have done everything, the documentations are very important. Why? Because once an issue happens, you send your email through to your insurance company, because now this is a time where the promise has to come in play. You send your claim, inform them this has happened, then they will ask you for some documentation. So those documentations help them understand what was in place. Remember, if your documentations are not clear, then it makes it hard for your story to be understood. So documentation is very important. For example, if you deal in stock, if you say that you've lost stock worth 20 million, you must have a document that proves that actually you had a stocking of 50 million, you sold off 30, and all your ledgers show, and the balance is 20, and that's exactly what has been taken. If your flows are very clear, it becomes easy. So documentation is very important, because once you submit all the documentation, if there is a need to carry out an investigation, they will communicate to you at their cost. They'll just send in their claim, the service providers who are licensed by the regulator. They just appoint any, they come and engage you, look through your paperwork, do their background check, and then they make a recommendation whether the claim is payable or not. And if it's yes, to what extent. As soon as that is done, they send you a discharge voucher, which you consent to, and money is sent to your account.
Thank you, Julie. If you can, you have about 2 minutes.
So if you want to buy,
Hello? Faith, can you hear Juliet?
I cannot. I think she hung, unfortunately.
Okay, let's...
buy insurance policy. Of course, with your service provider, you discuss, they send you quotation and a documentation will be sent. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Julie. It was a very good presentation. Thank you very much, Ibrahim. I don't know whether, Ibrahim, you want to make a comment or two to supplement and to supplement your colleague?
No, not really. Not really.
You're satisfied. Very good. Very good.
Would like to just now wait for the question.
Very good. Before the questions, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to, of course, highlight the importance of insurance without mentioning or repeating Juliet. Insurance in our normal life is something that is becoming, more pronounced and more valid beyond the health insurance, but also for business in terms of risk management. And going back to the presentation at the beginning of Julie's submission, the areas of identification of risk, knowing what your business is prone to. If it is in the value chain of agriculture, for example, are you in the production, are you in the processing, or are you in the marketing side? What are the common problems in those individual areas that you have identified yourself to be pronounced? And that is where Julie was proposing a good mitigation plan so that then it informs your appropriate policy that will be able to cover you. I thank you very much, and thank you for highlighting issues around the cost and the premium required, and also the fact that you propose, you can break the payment in as far as the individual business is concerned. So thank you very much for that presentation. I'll now take a question, and referring to the questions, I don't see many at the moment to you, but a couple for Dr. Dr. Paul Kyalimpa. Please, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget your questions. We are also going to be receiving 2 more presentations just after this session of questions. I also want to highlight that in the room, we are also in the company of the Director of Small and Medium Enterprises, Madam Winnie Lawoko-Olwe, who will be making closing remarks and highlighting issues around REN and going forward as far as today's program is concerned. So, Dr. Paul Kyalimpa, the question goes. Paul, are you with me?
I'm with you.
Very good. The question goes, I would propose that UIA also works hand in hand with URA to provide tax holidays to women and youth-led businesses, for example, for maybe 2 years. Is there any initiative to have this? Does Uganda Investment Authority make follow-ups on businesses to promote their survival, resilience, and growth? That's a question from Chiberu Jonah to you.
Okay. Now, thanks, Kiberu, and the other members online. First and foremost, I would like to note that Uganda Revenue Authority works in close collaboration with Uganda Investment Authority. Since we do licensing of all investments as investment promotion, facilitation, and support agency, we handhold all those who have got the investment license. And remember, the investment license is for free. So once you have the investment license, you are entitled to being called an investor. And with that investment license, you can use it to show that you are serious. Why? Before you get the investment license, you are supposed to come up with a business plan. You saw how your business will operate, or if it is existing, you saw how it is operating. And you show which employment, the employment you are going to generate. You will show the profitability. You will show how the economy is benefiting from your business. Now, within the investment climate as an investor, there are a lot of benefits you're entitled to, or as a Ugandan investor or a foreign investor. When you say investor, some people think it's only foreigners. A Ugandan investor. Now, for agriculture sector, for example, you are entitled to 10 years tax holiday for those who are doing agro-processing. Whether you're operating in industrial park, free zone, or outside in any place of yours, in your village. So you come and register, we show you how to get tax exemption when you are doing agro-processing. And if you want land in the industrial parks, located across from, for example, Kasese, Mbarara, Kampala here, you go to Jinja, you go to Mbale, you go to Soroti, like that, all those areas, we shall be able to give you land, and then you'll be able also to get 10 years tax holiday as an agro-processing entity. Also, 0% import duty on importation of plant and machinery for agro-processing. If you are going to add value to anything in agriculture, you don't pay any import duty for the equipment you use, plant and machinery. So, and when it comes to agricultural inputs, they're exempted from import duty and value-added tax. So that should be easy for anybody really. Then when you go to those in manufacturing, we give you 10 years income tax holiday for the exports. If exporting 80% of what you produce outside Uganda, we give you 10 years income tax. And all the raw materials which you use as a manufacturer, they're exempted from taxes, value-added tax. So, and also the value-added tax on plant and machinery for importation is also deferred, and you have zero import duty on plant and machinery for all your industries and manufacturing sector. Now, people say as if that is not enough. For those who want to engage, who are involved in tourism, The vehicles for tourism are exempted from import taxes. You don't pay any tax if you have your vehicle for tourism. The hotel equipment, furniture, fixtures, are all exempted from import taxes or from taxes at the time of importation. So now, if you are going to have a hotel, it is important that you come to register and get an investment license, so that whatever you are going to use, the equipment, the fixtures, the furniture, everything, you don't have to pay tax at importation. That's how you benefit a lot. VAT is also exempted on accommodation in tourism, in tourist hotels and lodges in the upcountry areas. You see how people are making money? So you need that information from us and we support you. Also in industrial parks, if we come and we give you land, which is for free, we give you 10 years tax holiday on income, which you get from, for if you have to let out your property or part of what you have constructed with the facilities, you don't pay tax on income tax on that facility. Now, if you train your staff, so we don't have to pay any tax, 100% free for all your the taxes on staff. So the incentives are enormous. Now,
Thank you.
Uganda Revenue Authority is a part of the presidential investment round table period, and we work with them to harmonize all these incentives every year, which will avail to all the investors. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Much appreciated. And Chiberu also, in a related question, is asking Madame Julie, and this is in line with your presentation in terms of these mitigations that are in place. So on one side, we have incentives for tax, but now Chiberu introduces another question, and that is for you, Madame Julie, who's the technocrat on insurance. And it goes, what measures has IRA undertaken to maximize the visibility of insurance industry in Uganda, especially up to the grassroots? Julie or Ibrahim can take it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chiberu. Ibra, do you want to take it up or I take it up?
You take it up. In the event that I have some additions, I'll complement.
Okay. What I know for the fact is that the regulator has really put a lot of effort in sensitization. I am sure they may not be able to reach everyone in every rural setup to that big extent, but we've seen them run adverts. Of course, we have also partnered with them on a number of sensitizations and new innovations that need to come in place. So we have seen them put in a lot of investments in advertising, in terms of putting it in a local perspective. I don't know if anyone here has come across some adverts that have been that's straight from the English-based televisions and the local, including the rural radio stations and TVs. So that is what they started with. But we know for the fact that they have a robust plan on making sure that they streamline a number of issues that have to be done in the industry, so that it becomes easy for even the rural person to get access to insurance, including their claims compensation, because we know the nature of the people, the business people who are in the rural setup. They may not have access to smartphones, but they have phones that need QR codes, so we've seen them trying to do a number of innovations in there. So but I think for now, that's what I can say. Serious sensitizations that involve moving around. They actually move around. They also deal in showcasing. When there is a trade show, they're always in there. We see them, because usually where they are, we are there. Where we are, they're also there. So
perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Julie. Thank you very much for that submission. Well received.
Moderator, can I add something?
Please.
Thank you very much for the question. The regulator, that is UIA and Uganda Insurers Association, also opened up what we call the fraud desk. The complaints desk. So the complaints desk is basically there to handle complaints from customers. And between me and you will appreciate that for every customer whose complaint is solved, acts as a way to take back good messages to people down there. But also beyond that, one of the other current projects that is ongoing is the Motor Third Party Project, where people are able to purchase insurance on their mobile phones. So within any part of the country where you are, you're able to purchase insurance. And finally, is what we call the micro insurance, which is also an ongoing project championed by the regulator, hosted by the Insurance Training College, which is insurance for all levels, for different households of small earning income. So at that level, you're able to see that the regulator, together with all players, Uganda Insurers Association and ITC, are able to ensure that that message spills over to different people. And so if people can't afford the conventional insurance, then micro insurance is there to support people who earn low incomes. Chair, I submit.
Thank you very much, Kalule, for that submission and very informative. Thank you, Julie, too, for jumping in on that question. In the interest of time, allow us to move to the next presentation. The next presentation is now on a very important topic, which without what we have talked about renders all our efforts very futile. The strength of your network and using these networks to spur growth during COVID. Dr. Maggie Kigozi, Business and Professional Women, BPW Kampala, former Executive Director, Uganda Investment Authority. In various capacities, you're welcome, and the microphone is yours, and we are very honored to receive you. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Muramira. I am really happy to have an event to attend that is the UIA Women Entrepreneurs Network. I was privileged to be part of the team that set it up 20 years ago. So I'm really happy that it is still doing its work as it had been planned to be done. So I really am grateful to be here. Networks are your strengths, and networks are diverse. They are actually groups of interconnected people. That's a network. They are interconnected for whatever reason, and for us, we are interconnected through business here. Women in business, you are our heroes. You keep this country running. You look after the families, both financially, but also our cultural, traditional role of the mother in the home. And we want to appreciate you. You create some jobs in your various companies, small, medium, large. Some of you are very large, some are still starting. You create jobs for our Ugandans. Some of these jobs are direct. They are that person you're employing, but others are indirect. Where I have in the Pepsi company 500 employees, I also recognize that every woman in the market who sells a Pepsi owes something to the fact that I have given her product. So those are the indirect jobs that would come out. You know, if you are rearing chicken, eggs, the cake maker is really also dependent on you. So you provide some indirect jobs. You have outgrowers, those of you who are farmers, either outgrowers or we have those who sell our products out there in the market. We have suppliers. We create the job for the supplier who then employs a whole lot of other people. And then you have satisfied customers. I hope they are satisfied. And those are also dependent on you. You pay taxes. You know that government would not be able to run Makerere University or Mulago Hospital without your money. So you need to feel proud And that is why UIA was put in place, because we found the ladies not recognizing that even they're investors. Like Mr. Muramira has just explained to you and the previous speakers, you are investors. We want you to stand up having your investment license. So make sure you go to the UIA and get this so that you can put it up on your wall and remind yourself how important you are every day to this economy. You also, of course, the community benefits from you in various ways. Some of you are social enterprises. So the UIA and its networks. We need to thank the UIA. You've heard from them starting, I hope some of you were here yesterday. Starting from then, you heard about their one-stop center. This includes so many agencies of government, Diamond Bank, they all sit with them and they are ready to give you information, register you, license, whatever it is that you need. So thank you, UIA, for being the first network that we believe is very, very important to the women. We now have, which we maybe did not have in the past, the SME department headed by Winnie, that really also caters for the small. They were always a little bit worried about coming to the UIA, but you are also catered for. So don't feel you cannot benefit from going to the UIA. The UIA networks also include something we called Team Uganda. That is so many departments, any department you might need. If it's oil, if it is fisheries, if it is anything in government, agriculture, they will link you to it. So you don't worry your head, how do I get to talk to this person? Just go to the UIA. They will handhold you, they'll make appointments for you, and that's your biggest network, Uganda Investment Authority. They will not also link you to the private sector, support government organizations, and also the private sector associations, because they work very closely. UIA works closely with Private Sector Foundation, UZIA, Chamber of Commerce, UWIL, ourselves, BPW, and then there are so many private sector associations, the farmers, the beekeepers, so many. They will also be able to link you to them if your need is to talk to them. So take a very important network is you benefiting from UIA's existing huge network. The bankers, UIA deals with them on a day-to-day. You, of course, as a woman in business and a youth, have your own individual networks. Don't drop your networks. Don't think you need new networks. Nurture the old networks. Your schoolmates. My schoolmates are such a treasure. I know they are all over. They are doctors, they are business, they're all over. And they are such a blessing. Don't drop them. My sports networks. I used to be a keen sportswoman. And these people are in all offices. Nowadays, they all play golf, which I don't play, but still I can call them and they would help. Don't forget to volunteer. You have skills, you have abilities. Are you sharing with the youth, the scouts, the guides, and various NGOs? These are excellent networks, I can tell you. They get you places, although sometimes you think they are just bothering you. They don't pay. They don't pay. They pay differently. But today we are talking about UIA as your network. When I first came to the UIA, there were no women. I didn't see any registered projects that were women. But I knew Mrs. Mbire, Mrs. Karuga, there were women out there. I was out there as well. And so we made a special effort to say, let's get the women here. So we called the women. We'd have lunch, we'd have dinner, we'd have tea. And we looked at 3 main areas for them. They needed networking. These women were doing their small businesses isolated. They couldn't grow, they couldn't connect, they couldn't learn from anybody, they were just there. So a network, bringing them together to talk to one another, to share, was a very important thing. And that's what UIA continues to do, and that's what we're doing here today. Getting you to talk to one another. I remember having Mrs. Victoria from Green States, Green Acres, that big school near Monitor. They were going to start school on Monday, but she needed curtains very badly. At our dinner, she was sitting next to Karugaba. She said, you know, the fees come in. I don't have money. She just happened to be chatting. Don't have the money because the children will come in next week and pay their school fees. But I need curtains. We are opening. I want to look good. That was all that she needed. Nina immediately gave her curtains. She looked good. And as soon as the fees came in, she could pay her. So networking, very, very important. The second one that WEN does, and which is what we are doing here today, is capacity building. Sharing with you information, opportunities, where you can learn things. This is what you'll be benefiting. And already you benefited. We heard about tourism. We heard about, you know, just now, a risk and insurance, you know. So we learn a lot. You will find your capacity, you become more knowledgeable. And by being knowledgeable, you have more confidence in what you're doing and you're able to grow your business. And lastly, we find out what is hurting you, the challenges you face. Already this presentation over the last 3 days was trying to address challenges you had already talked about, but challenges always come about. And now the biggest one, of course, affecting us immediately is COVID. So UIA's role is to listen to you, they are the voice, they are the ears of government in the private sector. They listen to you and they take that to the ministry, whichever ministry is relevant, and try to find a solution. When we first talked to you about 20 years ago, our biggest challenge was access to finance. I think to a certain extent, it's still a challenge. Access to land was another one. Bureaucracy. You were even scared of us at the UIA, really? But yes, the women were not coming to the UIA. They were petrified with URA. They were scared with customs and apologies. They were scared of customs and they were scared of the police. You know, those ones trying to export. They were really having a rough time with these guys. So that was another one that was a problem, bureaucracy. They were worried business ownership. Did they own their businesses? Had they registered? The men generally owned the businesses. And if you remember, it was always Mr. Mukasa and sons. We never heard about and Madame, and we never heard about the daughters. So again, there we started to do a little advocacy with the men, new companies. Say, but really, what about Mrs.? Can she have some shares? So anyway, we try to get business ownership in family businesses, but also to encourage the women in their own businesses to register and really know that they have owners. On the ownership, we encourage partnerships. That's the role of UIA, to encourage partnerships, and whether joint ventures with a fellow Ugandan or joint venture with a foreigner. I would then go back to your friends, your school friends, your university friends. You can partner with them. My company has grown very well, and we are 3 partners. Not many partnerships you'll find in Uganda have been successful, but we are going well. We are very different, but the partnership is going well. We each bring something to the venture. Then SACCOs, can you work with your friends? I think the bank already talked about that. And then the joint ventures. So the other one that the women were challenged with was what should I invest in? Everybody was going into trade. They were doing small things. Where are the opportunities? And that is the role of UIA. And they've tried to share some of the opportunities. Thank you very much, Deputy ED. That was good. Some of the opportunities that exist. The other one was a lack of knowledge, completely. And even here you see, you are all asking questions because you didn't know these things. Find out, get this information. And the best place to get it is the UIA. That is their job. Give them work. Otherwise, they will sit there and do nothing. So knowledge, we discovered that entrepreneurship training is very important. I remember personally going to Ghana to meet the Minister of Ghana and UNCTAD to try to get Enterprise Uganda here. And I sat as a member of the first board that was there because we knew we didn't have the skills. We didn't have the entrepreneurship skills. But at the same time, Enterprise Uganda is a small thing. So as UIA at that time, we managed to get funding from Iceland. And by the time I left, we had trained about 16,000 SMEs in entrepreneurship all over the country in all the various languages. So it isn't even about education. You can become an entrepreneur in Uganda, in, you know, Chitara, Chitara, or the one in Acholi, you know, you just need that financial literacy. Women, business women, our problem is time, because they didn't take away our traditional tasks. When you become a businesswoman, you are still the mother in the home. You are still the wife. You are still the one who looks after anybody who is sick in the family, be it a parent, whatever. So we lack time, and that is what was affecting our businesswomen so much. And it is still a challenge, but I think we've moved on. Our husbands are much more cooperative. This business of, you know, only eat food cooked by my wife, I think it's going, and expecting her to be home when she has a business to run. So I think that one, a lot of the issues I raised were very bad at that time. We've made progress. And I think the biggest progress you've had today is the e-banking, e-government, e-licensing, e-everything. You really don't need to go and line up at the bank. You can just bank online. So that has been a big one for women who do not have time. And also the improved, we are not so bureaucratic anymore. We don't want you to fill in 1,000 forms, you know, things like that line up every day. So we've come a long way. I am happy UIA is here to take the women, take us the women. I am included there. I'm a businesswoman. I am depending on you to take me now to the next stage and to take all the other women, the young girls coming out of university. There are no jobs. Can we work with them to identify their opportunities and they start their small businesses and grow? So thank you very much. Lawrence is not here today, but thank you, Lawrence, the ED, Deputy ED, I've seen you. And Sheila, Winnie, all of you, and Jackie, who is managing us today. Faith, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Much appreciated, and we celebrate you every day. We know that you sacrificed a lot, and some of this effort you see is in recognition of your hard work, and we continue to uphold your legacy. Thank you very much. You touched very important areas, and I cannot overemphasize the importance of network. You tickled my mind a bit, reminded me of a session I just had, and it's important that you mentioned volunteering. Part of my work, Doctor, is I mentor a group of young business youth, both boys and girls, who are at university level under the MasterCard program, and we try to mentor them in their line of aspirational businesses. And one of them has had challenges with his chapati business. But I had a visit from him in my office, and he said, "Thank you very much for the work you're doing, but if you can only give me a tip of your success, what is your tip of your success?" And I was not shy to say, your network. I am so happy that your presentation has touched on the issue of network, but you brought up the issues around, for example, looking back at my network, even at school, looking at your network close home. Who are your neighbors? Who are the people you go to church with? The people you go to, to deal with in the banking sector. those are all the networks that I believe you highlighted too, and we cannot thank you enough for that presentation. The issues around capacity building are key. Ongoing effort is in that regard. What we are doing now is ensuring that we are all over Uganda, to make sure that we are all over Uganda, and we are now going through our network with SME the department, building what we have called regional business development centers. And premised on that is the importance of capacity building, where we are going to look at mentorship, where we're looking at apprenticeship as key components to borrow from. But I will not dive in that a lot. I'll now take questions for Doctor. Anyone in the room to supplement Doctor's submission or ask any question or point of clarification, this is the time. I'm sure Faith and Winnie would want at least to appreciate you if they don't have a question. So I'll invite either Faith or Madam Winnie to say a quick word as we wait for the next question in the room, and then also prepare for Madam Rita.
Yeah, Peter, I think it's a good time for me to come in now. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you very well, Director Winnie.
Okay, I want to thank Dr. Maggie Kigozi for actually making this very easy for me now. We thank you for that vision of and your team for setting up Uganda Investment Authority Women Entrepreneurs Network. I'm really not going to go so much into what we already discussed yesterday, but I just want to, for the members who are on this group, you will definitely get presentations that will tell you all about UIA for those who were not here yesterday. But I thought it was very important that at this time I say something about a way forward on what we are planning, but also to thank Dr. so much. And my way forward is going to be very quick. One, we are looking at how we are going to unpack opportunities for women and youth. You'll notice here that we talk about youth, and I think Dr. Maggie really did say what our role as women are. We carry you not for only 9 months, but we carry you all our lives. So we're going to be looking at unpacking opportunities for women and youth and how to map a strategy to uptake those opportunities. The key ones is we are going to be looking at the program implementation area and see what women can benefit from. We are going to be going definitely into the government procurement area and also access to women fund and youth fund. How can we access it better? The second thing, which is very critical and will come in the month of July, is we are going to select a non-executive committee to drive the agenda of WEN. And this is going to come from the women groups themselves so that we are working together and collaborating. Third, we are going to be looking at developing a 4-year work plan, which is going to, take us through understanding the NDP3, how do the SDGs come in, how does local content come in, and how can we collaborate with government ministries and bodies to be able to move this forward. Last but not least, we will develop a calendar for their engagement. I thought I should bring this in before our next presenter, Mr. Moderator Peter, because I think the next presentation is an exciting one for women and maybe might have quite a number of questions to ask. But I will end up by saying that as a young girl, one of my networks that I picked without them knowing was Dr. Maggie Kigozi. I was a little girl at the reception, and I used to see this lady walk in. Sometimes she's walking in for a meeting, and there were 3 or 4 men walking in with her. And for me, that was a major milestone. I want to thank her because I think there are many of us at the Sheraton who were in her network without her knowing. So I think networks are really extremely important. I thank you, and over back to you, moderator.
Thank you, Madam Winnie, Director Winnie, Director SMEs. I hear you very well on your last point there that you saw Dr. Maggie walking with 4 men. So maybe for you, you can pick me as your 4th man to walk with you, because I'm happy to do that role as you enter into your next calling. But thank you very much for that submission. And we will now invite Madame Rita, having no questions for Doctor, but as they come in, we'll flag them. But in the interest of time, it's 4:20. Madame Rita Mugula, thanks for your patience. Please speak to us about Dubai 2020. Give us a good background to it, and then tell us why you're talking to us this evening, and then tell us how we move forward. Madame Rita,
Peter?
the microphone is yours.
Peter, as she puts up her presentation, I also want to say something for the women in this group. All the people were invited for all sessions. I want to recognize Dr. Maggie with her so many things that she has to do. She attended all the 3 sessions. So learning does not end, and we should pick a leaf from her. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rita, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Peter. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Should I say save the best for last? But let's go through. My name is Rita Mugula, Senior Investment Executive in the Investment Promotion Department, Uganda Investment Authority. And I'm going to talk about the Dubai 2020 and the bankable projects. I know we have run a bit late, but I'll take us through as eloquently and fast as I can. I would want to thank the organizers for this platform, and then I'm really glad and honored to be part of such an engagement. I've learned a lot. It's enlightening. You can think you know it all, but once we hear, keep on hearing through and through what we think we know, we actually remind ourselves, and it helps us a lot. So let me get started with the presentation. To introduce the Dubai 2020, Dubai 2020 is still Dubai 2020 because it was supposed to take place last year. But as you all know, because of the COVID pandemic, we had to postpone it to this year. But it was agreed that the title is maintained Dubai 2020. And right now, it's still planned to take place 1st October 2021 to March. It's running for the next 6 months from October. The countries that are projected to participate are about 190. The planned participation, the 2.5 you see, has actually gone down. This is in adjustment with the current situation, but as we progress with the pandemic, I think adjustments are ongoing. As a country, Uganda is of course part of the participating countries, and our involvement will be around 3 tenets, and that is trade, export promotion, investment promotion, and tourism. Briefly, let's look at some statistics. If you look at the graph I've projected, this is a graph showing the importing markets, or let me say what Uganda exports, the countries Uganda exports to. And you will notice that Dubai, that is United Arab Emirates, let me not even call it Dubai, takes the highest threshold of what we export to the other countries internationally. Also, briefly, some statistics again. From the graph, we've seen what we export. We export to UAE mostly, but what we majorly export is precious stones, fish, edible vegetables, that is more horticulture, tobacco, coffee, and cotton. So please just keep this, we'll share the presentation in mind. Back to the Dubai 2020, the expo has themes and sub-themes. The theme that it's focusing on is connecting minds, creating the future. And the sub-themes that we are focusing on are 3 basically, and each country can pick where it feels it will maximize best, and that is mobility, sustainability, and opportunity. Uganda as a country, we chose to fall under opportunity. And our theme as a country is right place, right time. You'll ask why Uganda's motivation for picking right place, right time. If you notice, as a country, we are actually very aggressive, and we have taken remarkable strides in socio-economic development. Let's look at infrastructure development. We are looking at industrialization, which is actually our NDP is refocusing on. We are looking at the roads, looking at energy sector, developing. Those are the key sectors we are looking at. When we look at industrialization, we're looking at the industrial parks. We are focusing on agro-processing. So right now, peace and stability is also part of the areas that the country is aggressively working towards too, and we've experienced peace for the last 3 decades. You look at human development. As a country, there is a lot that's put into the human development aspect. Innovations, we are looking at the incubation hubs. So all these are dynamic sectors that would actually drive the country ahead. And it would actually put us in a very good position to attract the different opportunities that exist. Also, the business environment is now ideal for trade and investment. The country has a lot of policy and regulatory frameworks it has put in place. You'll notice we have the one-stop center shops. Yes, UIA housing, the bigger one, which helps in licensing and enabling the ease of doing business, but also other MDAs actually have also taken on the one-stop center. And we have a lot of applications that are now done online. If you're to notice, Uganda, of course, that we know, is a heart of 3 strategic markets. We have the East African market. You look at the COMESA market. So all those are opportunities that as a country are available for us to tap into. So these opportunities are immense, and it's now time to hasten all this and exploit them. As a private sector player, definitely you'll ask, why should I be interested? That could be a very key question to a company. Let me give an example. The expos occur once in every 5 years, but the ideal expo, this expo is ideal for Uganda because it's in Dubai this time round. You'll notice that Dubai is very accessible. It's easy to reach. It's nearer to Uganda than the other expos that have been there, because given the next expo that is supposed to take place after this Dubai 2020 will be in Osaka, Japan. It's when you look at the distance and the accessibility, Dubai is much easier. And then Dubai is a fast growing, okay, let me look at UAE generally, but Dubai, because that's where we are going to be centered. It's a fast growing country or city. It is a gateway for hub for trade, investment, tourism. So opportunities to tap into are too many. And then you'll also notice from the graphs I've shared, we have a good bilateral relationship with UAE. Already we are trading greatly with them. We are on a good working and economic relationship is actually already good. So this can be enhanced and also utilized to help the Ugandans and the companies tap into the opportunities that exist. On Uganda's participation, right now, there was a task force, a national task force that was formed, and this is being headed by Uganda Export Promotion Board that is coordinating and overseeing the participation of Uganda as a country. Briefly, Uganda secured a pavilion, and this has 2 floors, a pavilion that will be used by all the Ugandans that are to participate in the expo when we get there. This has 2 floors, that's the exhibition, and then also another floor which will be for meetings and conferences. But it's good to note that in the first week, when the expo opens, Uganda has dedicated 3rd October to be the National Day, Uganda's National Day, where we will showcase Uganda as a country, promote our country that day. And this day, it's planned that this day will have the president and some key government delegates be part of it. And then also in the afternoon, we'll showcase what we have, the different opportunities in Uganda. This would include culture events, and then also the opportunities we are marketing. And then there we plan to have a trade investment forum. B2B meetings, the different meetings that can take place, also B2G meetings and government-to-government meetings, all planned on our National Day. So this is a good day that can be taken advantage of to showcase what we have as a country. To quickly go through UIA's involvement and readiness, UIA's responsibility, of course, definitely is to promote the different opportunities in Uganda, which is our mandate. So we'll be showcasing the different investment opportunities in the sectors that we are focusing on as a country, aligned to the NDP3. And this is agriculture, transport, mining, health, tourism, ICT, and so many industrial parks, and all the others that we are actually focusing on. As an institution, as UIA, we have aligned our readiness to preparing investment opportunities. These are going to be compiled in, we have a bankable project booklet. I hope most of you have seen it. It's an annual compendium, let me call it a compendium, where we update the different opportunities, specifically from the private sectors. They are projects actually, not opportunities, from the private sector and public projects that are ready for marketing and are looking deeply, basically, into the financial aspect, are looking for financials in the different areas. So these bankable projects have been prepared, and we've got some from the private sector. I know some of them, ideally, would have as many as we could, but what we focus on would be more of projects that have got feasibility studies, pre-feasibility studies, and then we also look a bit at the spillovers, the economic returns, especially when we come to the public projects. Basically, since Opportunity Bank actually explained in detail, the bankability aspect is one of the areas that we are working on as UIA and as a country to ensure that we beef up our projects. Opportunities are there, but most of the projects we have are still in idea status, ideas, where they don't have the feasibilities and the financial aspect attached. This kind of limits the investments we attract. So what we are looking at is to ensure that we actually get more of these projects assessed and viability tagged to the financial aspect so that we market them easily. The overall objective definitely is to market evidence informed and well-packaged profiles so that they attract the foreign investment we want. Because if we are to look from the investor aspect, they will definitely want a project that is sustainable and actually will guarantee them returns. So that's what we are really trying to look at in order to attract the investments we need. But the booklet has been compiled. We have so far about 76 projects. These are both private and public, which we are going to market. But I encourage, because SME has medium enterprises, those that have projects that are actually viable, that they have done market studies and analysis on, we market this on a yearly basis. We update our booklet on a yearly basis. So those can be submitted to us, and we update our compendium on an annual basis. Also, we are working on detailed briefs. Those are sector briefs, which are basically looking at which have the market and macroeconomic indicators within the sectors. In-depth sector briefs actually, which can guide and show and give an indicators to the investors on which sectors could be profitable. And then these sectors are about 7 that we are focusing on and we are going to market, and these include edible oils, minerals, pharmaceuticals, infrastructure, ICT. All these will be marketed at the expo. And then also we have videos, promotional videos, brief promotional videos, because reading content is not always very easy, but some can easily view the videos about Uganda's opportunities, which can draw them into actually getting into the reading of the detailed studies that have been done. Quickly, through the support to private sector to participate, UIA is working closely with Uganda Export Promotion Board, and some of the support that private sector can get from this platform would be into the administrative support, which includes visa acquisition and accreditation processes. Since it's a national forum, it would be good for us to carry it on an organized level, in that those who are interested in participating approach UIA or Uganda Export Promotion Board, and we facilitate or help them to access the visas they will require. And then also this will include when they get to Dubai, on where they can stay, all those arrangements can be done. And then we will also be in charge of securing meetings and conferencing venues necessary for the B2Bs. UIA, together with the Export Promotion Board, are working closely with the Dubai Chamber industry to align the meeting needs for the different segments. The Ugandan private sector can actually inform us of what their needs are, because every company would have their different opportunities they're looking into, which we will forward to both the embassy and the Dubai Chamber to organize and try to match make the listed needs to what is available in Dubai. So all those are part of what UIA is going to be working on. And then we had private sector engagement sometime in May, and investors actually, private sector players indicated to us that many would love to exhibit their products and to showcase the actual products they are working, they work on, or they produce. So the good news is Uganda secured a kiosk at the UMI Oasis Park, and the private sector actually now we have a kiosk where we can showcase the different products we have. So would also request the private sector to indicate their interest. For those with time, we'll reach out. For those that are interested in showcasing, can reach out to us or Uganda Export Promotion Board, so that we plan the coordination and the shipment process. Now, quickly, before I summarize, the online attendance option, we should note that the COVID pandemic is very unpredictable. So we are living in uncertain times. Currently, we are under lockdown. Definitely, we had hoped and projected that by this time we will be out of it. And come October, it will be very easy for us to access Dubai. But we are thinking along the lines of, if the restrictions do not lift by the Dubai Expo, because most likely it will go on. As UIA, we are exploring the preparations for online participation. The good thing, the Expo has already set up platforms for online participation. So all this can still be done even if we are not going to be able to do it physically. All these, the materials we are working on, we are doing both hard copy and soft copy for both online and hard copy. And then also we've notified the Chamber of Dubai Commerce that if there is such hindrance of physical participation, that we would still require their assistance to coordinate all the investor inquiries, all the meetings that would have to take place. And even if the physical meeting takes place, we had gotten inquiries from investors who had, and private sector players who had notified us that yes, they would love to be part of the expo, but the costs that are attached to going to Dubai physically, that if they don't go, that means they won't be able to participate. So this online platform, even if the lockdown is lifted and we are all there physically, who can, the online platform will still be available for those who can't go physically but can tap into what is taking place and benefit exactly the same way as those that have gone. For women in business, I will request my director, Miss Winnie Lawoko, to explain in detail. But there is an opportunity for women-owned companies to participate in the Dubai Expo through the African Women Entrepreneurship Network, where I think the different offers can be tapped into, maybe specifically the logistical benefits, but this can be elaborated a little better and more by the director SME. With that, I want to thank you and we look forward to your participation. Thank you.
Thank you very
Back to you,
much.
Chair.
Thank you very much, Rita, for bringing us to speed with the Dubai Expo 2020, and thanks for highlighting those opportunities for investment in different sectors. Your presentation was well prepared in terms of time. Thanks for also minding the time. We are at exactly 20 minutes to 5. Just slightly over the time that we had planned. There are a few questions. I'll start with questions directly for Rita while she has her microphone, so that she can clear off any questions or gray areas which she didn't touch. Any question? I don't see any in the question box, so I'll look at
There
whether
are
there
some
are any.
in the, Peter, there are some in the chat itself.
Okay.
Questions to do with how do we register for Dubai Expo and other logistic requirements.
Okay, Rita, can you take that? And maybe you have a look at the chat and see whether you can pick any question there that is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. For the registration, we will be creating a link on our UIA website. It's not yet live, I should say that, but we'll create a link that can be easily accessed for the registration process and the feedback or the requirements that you might need. That is yet to be put in place, and we'll notify once it's on the website.
Very good, and I think there's a notification from Dr. Maggie that there is a ready tourism project for discussion that would be good candidate for the expo. Okay. She will contact you separately.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Do we have, there's a question for Dr. Maggie. I'm sorry, Dr. Maggie, I might have to bring you back if you don't mind. Dr. Maggie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, Mr. Chiberu Jonah is asking, Dr. Maggie, are there avenues in which business women umbrellas are connected to financial institutions to negotiate interest rates to promote particularly women's access to credit in your experience, Doctor?
Yes, absolutely. At this time when we started the WEN, the bankers were really horrible to women. Just a security guard, the women were so scared of the security guard who would look at them and say, where's this woman in a Gomesi going? And really, they were so discouraging. Then you get into the banking hall and you have to queue for hours. So yes, we had meetings with IFC and the bankers, we trained them. And now they all have women's desks. They are all very keen. I think we already had from Opportunity today and yesterday from another one, you know, Centenary, Barclays, they all have women's something or other. So they are quoting us actually. And they all try to find different ways of supporting business women, which is good. But are you ready? The challenge is us. And that's where you should be trained properly, like Enterprise Uganda or Makerere University Business School, so that you have your books of accounts proper, you have your business plan proper. As you go to the bank asking for money, they will not take you seriously if you yourself are not ready. So there are two sides to that story. We can only negotiate for, but really they want women, and they have found women very, very trustworthy compared to the men. They have no non-performing loans that belong to women. So they would love to be able to give us access to finance. The organizations do talk to them. I think Winnie has always organized for us Opportunity Bank to come and talk to us, but also the other bankers have been, Stanbic and others have been with us. And they listen to us, they hear our problems, and they go back and now they have incubators. So they're trying to find solutions to where the problems were. They are themselves now not waiting for Enterprise Uganda, they are doing their own entrepreneurship skills training. So just talk to your banker, the one you already have, they probably have some way of helping you. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you, Doctor. Thanks for that highlight. And we are now coming slowly to the end of our session, our third session of accessing to financing models for women in networking entrepreneurship. I just have one area to touch, which is on what or how the process goes for registration if there is any interested party. And I think I'll ask Director Winnie to come and give us that wrap up. But before that wrap up, it's my humble opportunity to thank the organizers of WEN across the three sessions, to thank the participants, to thank the members that have been part of the panelists today, from Deputy Director General Paul Kyalimpa to Madame Alice from the SheTrades, to Mr. Ibrahim Kalule and Madame Julie, and of course to Dr. Maggie and Rita in our last session. You've been great. You've been a good audience, and also thank myself for the moderation. I also would like now to invite Madame Winnie Lawoko, who will give us a wrap up and then also answer my question in regards to how does one register for WEN, and then we'll come to the conclusion of this session. Thank you. Madame Winnie, microphone is yours.
Can you hear me? Thank you, Peter, for being a wonderful moderator. I think WEN is going to take you up as one of our great supporters. I think before I talk about what how to register, I just want to answer very quickly one of the, I think Jonah at one stage, Jonah Kibero asked about resilience and growth. I want to say that this activity of WEN is about resilience and growth. We realized, of course, that with the COVID-19, the issue of resilience and growth becomes a major component. But resilience and growth, apart from the financials, requires that we build our capacities, we open our eyes wide to see opportunities, and we take up on those opportunities. When Rita was concluding her discussion, she did mention something about registration on African women opportunities. And I think that opportunity was touched on by Alice Lajwa, the platform that women entrepreneurs can use to register, not only to improve their businesses, but also to have access to an online presence, and also to bid, because currently there's a call out for lucky people who SheTrades will actually sponsor for the Dubai 2020. So once you receive Alice's presentation, please look at the registration for SheTrades, the SheTrades platform, and that will allow you, one, to be registered and you begin doing businesses with women across the globe. Two, to have access to become a potential winner as a lucky participant that will be sponsored for SheTrade. And three, to be able to exhibit your products during the Dubai 2020. On registration onto WEN, Uganda Investment Authority is not creating another association. We deal with associations that are already created, and that means if you're a member of UIA, by virtue of being a member to UIA, you are a member of WEN. We also want to note very clearly that women who are in the tourism should not be scared, because the tourism sector has very strong and robust associations like Otto, like Tugata. We are not asking you to create another network to be able to join WEN. We will discuss with your leadership to allow women representatives on the executive to represent women at WEN. So registration is not by individual, but it is by associations. And once we have got our executives, normally when we have sessions like this, it is an open forum that people can attend physically when the COVID situation is over. But now we've learned something, and we will always maintain it, that when we have a gathering, we will also allow for Zoom participants so that participants can benefit across the country. I want to thank all the members who have been here for this activity. We are extremely excited. You have been very enthusiastic, and we do realize that the time is short, but thank you very much. Thank you very much, our moderator. Thank you very much, our panelists who have presented. Thank you very much, the participants. God bless you. Work from home, keep safe, and protect yourselves. God bless you for God and my country.